Okay, so with our read button, we want to read from that text file. And the way we do that is we have to create a variable. And I think for now, we definitely need one. We need a variable that will link with the text file. Now the generic name is TF for text file, and its data type is text file. Okay, so you create a variable of type text file. Right, so we create a variable TF, that is our text file. We're going to create a link between the TF and the text file itself. Basically what's going to happen, we're going to link them, and then the information of the text file will be in TF. And TF is like that area in RAM where we read from the text file, which is on the hard drive, and it places it into RAM so that we can work with it. We can read from it and we can write to it and everything. And then at the end, we're just going to save it back to the storage, to the hard drive. So that's the idea. This is this TF. So TF is that, I want to say, that area in RAM that we're allocating. This is going to be for the text file. And then we're going to use that now. Now, the only other thing we might want is, I like creating a variable called line of type string. Because when we read from a text file, we read it line by line. So we're going to read the first line, and then you have to decide what you want to do with it. Then we read the next line, and then you decide what you want to do to it, and so forth and so forth. Alright, so I like creating a variable like that. Alright, so now our first step is we want to assign file. So if you choose assign file, you'll see there's two things. The first one is a variable of type file, which is our TF. And then the comma. So there's two. This is the file name. So what is our text file called? Info but .txt. You must just remember, even though yours doesn't show the .txt, that is the extension of your file. It's just hidden. Okay, Windows is just not showing it to you. So when you look in your folder, you might just see info. But just know when you get here, you have to say the .txt as well. We call this is the extension of the file. It is very important. It's the type of file we're using. Now, I said this is the first thing we do. And it should be. The only thing that you might think now, remember, we want to make a program that is user-friendly and doesn't break easily. Now, sometimes that text file might not exist. So if you try to read from a text file that doesn't exist, you're going to get an error that crashes your program. So something that we actually want to do even before this is we want to do an if. Because you really want to just check if the file exists or does not exist. So in this case, we want to see if the text file does not exist. So if and how that works, there's a function called file exists. And inside there, you can just give the file name. So the info.txt. So this will give you a true if it exists or a false if it does not exist. So you can say if the file exists, but that is false. So meaning if the file does not exist. Do you agree? Then you can maybe, it depends what the question, normally the question will tell you what to do. But generally what we want to do is we just want to do a show message where we can just tell the user file gone, whatever. Just give them an error what's happening now. And then what we want to do is we want to exit. What exit does, takes you out of button. Okay, so what this will do is, it means it won't do the rest of the button. So if the file does not exist, it's going to show this message and go out of the button. So it won't do the code afterwards. See, so this is checking for file. So this checks if the file is there, and if it's not there, we're going to show that message and close the button. Okay, all good. Alright. Now, if the file does exist, now we can link that text file to our variable. So the link is created, but now we've got three options. Either we want to read, which is what we're going to use now, but the other option is we could maybe want to write to a new file, or overwrite. What I mean with this option will clear what's in the text file and put whatever you ask into the text file. So it like starts a new one. So sometimes you don't want to keep what's there. You want to just erase what's there and put new information in. And then that's option. Or the third option that we can do is we could want to add to the text file. So these are your three choices. Either we want to read from the text file, or we want to write to a new file or delete what's there and put new stuff inside, or we just want to keep what's there and just add something onto it. Alright, so that's our three options. For reading, we're going to use reset. So you're going to say you reset TF. Okay, so we reset TF. This is when we want to read from it. For this option, I'm going to add it here because we don't want to use it now. But instead of reset, you're going to say rewrite. So you're going to say rewrite TF. If you want to open it to write to it, but clear it, you're going to say rewrite TF. And if you just want to add to it, we're going to say append TF. So we will do them in the next buttons, but I like to put everything you need to know like together in one button so that you sort of know what's our options. So instead of reset, you would say rewrite if you want to overwrite or clear everything and write new stuff. Or if you just want to add on, instead of reset, you're going to say append. So you've got those three choices to choose from working with text files. So this just creates the link, and then this now tells it, listen, we want to read from the text file. So open the text file and put it into TF for me. So now TF has got the text file and it's open for reading. Okay, all good. All right, now what we do, to read one line is you just say read ln. Read line, where do we want to read out of? Out of TF. Where do you want to put it? Into line. So this will read one line out of the text file and put it into the line variable. And then let's say for now we just want to display in the rich edit. So then you'll just have your rich edit dot lines dot add with your line variable. Let's say we only wanted to read the first one just to see what's happening. So when we're done with the text file, you just have to remember to close file your TF. So there we assigning it, there we opening it. Now we can read from it all the time, and when we're done, we just want to close the file. So if we play this program, see. So now if I read, there's my first name. Okay, my first line. Alright, so if we want to do something multiple times, we need a loop. Guys, do you know how many lines is in the text file? Okay, at this stage you know, but imagine you could add lines to it. You automatically now already know how many lines is in the text file. Okay, no we don't. Okay, because it can be an unknown amount of lines that's in the text file. So what type of loop will we use then? The while loop. Okay, up until this stage, even the first term, I focused on the for loop. You just get that right. But the for loop is a fixed amount of times. With this one, you agree we want to carry on reading until we reach the end. So our while loop has also got a friend, the repeat until loop. Okay, can all of you sort of remember repeat until? Alright. In this case, I like the repeat until a bit more. The while loop will work fine. I'll show you how to do the while as well. I just like the repeat until a bit more because it's a bit more understandable in this case. So, creating the link and opening the text file. Do we want to do that multiple times? When you want to read from a book, do you open it? How many times do you open the book to read from the book? Once. So do you agree we don't want to repeat that? That must happen once. But the reading and then displaying should happen lots of times. Do you agree? We want to read a line and then display it. And then read the next line and then display it. So we can put our repeat there. So we want to repeat this. I click enter. Until when do we want to stop reading? When we're at the end of the file, do you agree? So we want to repeat this until we're at the end of the file of TF. Okay, so there's an EOF for end of file. Het hulle jou gegroet? Was jy hier gewees in die begin? Okay, quickly stand up, read Mr. Walker's short piece, people. Good morning, everyone. Alright, so we want to repeat this until we're at the end of the file of TF. And when we're done, do you agree? How many times would you close your text, the book, after you're reading it? One. So that the close must also be outside of the loop. Okay, so now we can play this thing. Let's see what it will do. Click read, and there you can see all the lines. So now it doesn't matter how many lines you add, it will read all of them until it gets to the end of the text file.